So we're gonna do another special stitch. Now, so today we're gonna go over the puff stitch. Yes, the puff stitch. I use this a lot. You can find this in my peekaboo shell pattern and a bunch of other things that I've done as well. It is a great textured stitch. It, adds a nice little puff to things, hence the puff stitch. It also drives me a little bit crazy, but it is still a useful stitch to know. Honestly, every stitch is a useful stitch to know, but I digress. But yeah, so we're gonna learn the puff stitch today. I have a starting half double crochet foundation of 10 stitches, nothing crazy, and I've already chained, so we're gonna turn. I like to start my rows that I do a puff stitch with a double crochet because the puff stitch is a taller stitch. So I usually start and end my rows with a double crochet. Now, to do the puff stitch, it's a multitude of multiple wraps or yarn overs into the same stitch. And that's where it kind of can be a little bit tricky and a pain in the butt to do, but we're gonna learn it anyways. So what I want you to do, into the next stitch, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a new loop. And you are going to do that 3 more times. So that's 1 wrap. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up another one. 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up. 3, yarn over, insert, yarn over, and pull up. 4. So I've got, a million, as you can see, there's like a million loops on the hook. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 loops on my hook. Man, it's nice having nails to move those. So there's 9 loops on my hook. Now, to finish your puff stitch, you are going to yarn over and you are going to pull through all of those loops. Now, sometimes it's not as smooth as that. It can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I tend to catch on my puff stitches every now and then. And then to finish your puff stitch, you are going to chain 1. And that just makes it all nice and closed for you and keeps everything all nice and together. Now, a lot of patterns will have you chain 1 again and skip a stitch and then do another puff into the next stitch. So I'm just gonna do that. So I chained at the end of my puff and then I did an extra chain. Now we're gonna yarn over, we're gonna skip a stitch and go into the next one. So we're gonna do another puff stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So that's 2. Yarn over, insert still into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up another loop, that's 3, and then 1 more time, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up that last loop. So you should have, we said 9. You should have 9 loops on your hook. You are going to yarn over and pull through all of the stitches that you had on your hook, and then you are going to chain 1 to make that a nice, pretty, tight and closed stitch. So I'm just gonna chain 1 again, and I'm just gonna skip a stitch and we're gonna add a double crochet. No, I'm not gonna chain 1. We're gonna end it. And there we go. So we got 2, and you can do them next to each other as well. So instead of chaining and skipping a stitch, you can do a puff stitch right into that next stitch as well. But the reason skipping a stitch is a good idea is because it can make your projects look a little bit bulky, stacking puff stitches next to each other. but if you do it right, it's not too bad. So we've got our starting double crochet and 1 puff stitch, and then we did do a chain with the space between, and then now we've got 2 puff stitches right next to each other. So just to finish off the pattern, we'll chain 1 and we'll skip another stitch, and we'll do another puff stitch, yarn over and pull through. See, this is where the puff stitch can be a little irritating. Sometimes that pull through is not always and perfect and clean as you would hope. And I didn't make it to the end of the row, but it is what it is. So there we have, ignore that extra little bit down there, but we've finished our pattern. So we've got a double crochet, a puff stitch, a chain space, 2 puff stitches, a chain space, and then we finished off to match the front. But yeah, that's how you do a puff stitch. It's nothing too crazy. It's just when you're pulling through those stitches, it can be a pain in the butt, especially if you've got like a more pointier hook, like the inline hooks, which is part of the reason why I can't use them, because I snag on my yarn all the time. Man, my camera is just not, there we go. But yeah, it's there's the puff stitch. It's a great stitch. Again, texture wise, it's great for details and designing. Yeah, it's another alternative to the popcorn stitch. It just doesn't stick out quite as far. But yeah, there you go. There's the puff stitch. And like I said, I use this with my peekaboo shawl pattern, which if you're not following or you're not subscribed, make sure that you are, because I will have a full crochet along tutorial on how to do my peekaboo shawl pattern coming fairly soon. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that fun craziness. And I'm gonna go, you go, practice, 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 and I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles!